Welcome. I'm John Raeber, Yona Utana, bear that is big, and I'm here to share my theory, universal theory of everything. Macro, micro, together. Speaking of either level, on the micro or macro level, I think the easiest place to start is in fact the atom. And we may not know everything there is to know about the atom yet, but at the moment, as I understand it, the atom is made up of three basic components. One is matter. That matter comes in 6 different densities, all the same shape. The 6 fit together in a box. And the reason I believe that is if the first element didn't have a straight edge, I wouldn't know how they could create the crystal structures in nature that have straight edges to it. So I'm of the assumption that these 6 pyramidal shapes go together to form a box, and that box has 6 components, which I call top, bottom, left, right, and front, back. Now, they don't always have to fit together as a box. As a matter of fact, quite probably they fit together as a box when they're a strong atom, but they would fit together loosely if they're an atom that is unstable. Radioactive atoms are all unstable. Your metals are all very stable. Your gases are stable, but not as stable as your metals, at least in the standard temperatures. Realizing that all matter can go from solid to liquid to gas as one of their components. Now, that's the first element, matter, and all matter that ever existed still is and always will be, but it changes. It's not always a human being or dirt or a rock or a bird. It changes over time depending on what other atoms it's joining with. The one universal that I can see is that all things, all matter strives for growth. And growth can most commonly be done on the animal world, such as us, by consumption. We eat other living elements that then join us and become part of us. We don't kill things, we consume them as part of us. The second way of growing is by subdividing. An amoeba can become 2 amoebas, and that's how it grows. A person can join together, male and female, and have a baby, and that's how they grow. On the other hand, a rock can grow by subdivision, breaking, and forming 2 or more rocks until finally it becomes sand. So all things strive to grow. They just grow in different ways. Now, the second component is in fact attractive energy. We might call it gravity or magnetism, but all matter is attached to attractive energy. All attractive energy is connected to matter, although you may have different amounts of attractive energy depending on what kind of matter it's connected with. You will always find matter and connective energy or attractive energy together. The third component is projective energy. Projective energy is energy that is attracted and held by the attractive energy until something else attracts it more. And then it will move on to what's attracting it more, which is another form of growth if you think about it. So all things are made up of matter, attractive energy, and projective energy. In today's world, we can compare that quite easily to something that we're all familiar with, the computer. The computer itself is matter. The attractive energy is the program that runs the computer. And the projective energy is the communication process where the computer can send out information to other computers. It doesn't need a wire, does it? All it needs is an energy field with something within the energy field. The energy field is created by something that creates an element, a telegraph, that projects the energy out with a message, and then the other side is a receiver that also understands that language and retranslate the energy back into a message. So our present day computers are basically a very simple form of a standard atom. Now with that said, if you think about all the atoms that go into a human being, if every atom within you is a computer and every atom has the ability to have a program, and every matter has a storage capacity in addition to the program, then that means our memories are in fact included in every atom within us. Actually, it's every atom even if it's not within us. So whenever we lose a piece of skin or we go to the bathroom, we're taking some of our matter and projecting it in a whole different way. But those can also carry some of our memories as well. The attractive energy that's connected to the computer or to the matter has a purpose. And in truth, we call that purpose in our computers a program. I believe the Fibonacci code has something to do with that. The 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, the addition of the last one to the new one is clearly a natural state because it's repeated over and over again in flowers, in animals, in shells. We can constantly see this growth pattern, which is best known by the nautilus, where you start and you grow by the Fibonacci sequence, the golden section. So that's a program. That means somewhere along the line a program had to have been developed, and that means intelligence. And that intelligence exists in every atom that's out there, because every atom can join together with other atoms and recreate various elements, whether it's a rock or a person or a bird or a planet or a solar system. So the concept of micro to macro is really, if you look at it, following the same elements. Every planet, every solar system has matter. All those matters have, in fact, attractive energy, which is a program, and they have projective energy, which is communication. And that goes all the way up to, in fact, the entire universe, where we have the Big Bang as the beginning of everything that is, but they forget that there's a secondary part. Everybody says, well, what happened before the Big Bang? It's obvious. Somewhere there along the line there had to be a big collapse. So when all the energy that's projecting is pulled in by the attractive energy into a smaller and smaller sphere, at some point it will become so strong, so centrally located, that everything that is our universe becomes a singularity. All matter is together, all attractive energy is there, all projective energy is there, and it is so, as it gets closer and closer together, each of the elements starts becoming faster and faster and faster, because there's movement always everywhere. Whether you're a matter, attractive energy, projective energy, they're all in movement constantly. And the way they react to each other changes that movement. So as they get closer and closer together, they start moving faster and faster until they move so fast, they create such heat that the attractive energy is no longer strong enough to hold it. And boom, you have the Big Bang. And now the projective energy starts pushing out because it's overbalanced the attractive energy, and it continues to grow and grow and grow until it reaches a point where it stops, where the attractive energy overbalances the projective energy again. And then when it stops, the attractive energy starts pulling it back. It comes back together more and more and more, and all of it starts joining together again, and we all become a singularity again. and we all become this one thing, this one element, the singularity, until it's so tight and so active that it separates again. The projective overrules the attractive, and it grows and grows, and that is cyclic. It goes on forever, which means you and I are eternal. Those things that make up what we are have always been here and will always be here. Matter does not change to energy. Energy does not change to matter. They just change their positions with each other. All matter has attractive energy, but some of that attractive energy might be attracted to some other matter, as in radioactive bomb. You've got all that matter that is joined together, and then all of a sudden it's unbalanced because of the explosion, and then it becomes particles of matter, radioactive matter in that particular case, because they're so hot, so active, they're so fast moving that they become dangerous for those things that are not so fast moving. And every time we become involved, if that fast moving radioactive material hits us, our molecules, all of our atoms begin reacting the same way, and we in fact react so quickly that the attractive energy that holds us together as people creates more projective energy than attractive energy, and we become part of the projective energy of the explosion. Now, is that bad? Well, if you were in the middle of doing something you like to do, probably yes, but in truth, it's change. And if we think about it, change is something that's always happening. We change whether we're growing through consumption, or we change because we're shrinking, because we're becoming less. As we become older, we don't move as well, our atoms aren't moving as well, and we slow down to a point where in fact we cannot hold ourselves together any longer. And that is in fact the universal theory of everything, which means the program that's involved had to have been written by God. All religions are correct. They all are acknowledging the fact that there is a program that has a process. But what people realize also is we have a choice. We can follow the program, or we can not follow the program, just as you can with a computer. You can write something that screws up the computer. There are those kind of bugs that in fact destroy computer information. We can do that too. We all have a choice to go either way in all these decisions. That's because we're all God. We all have choice. When we are the singularity, we are one. We are all God in a singular sense. There is no male, there is no female, there is us together as a singularity. When we reach the other end of it, the full projection, I think it's going to be kind of lonely, because all the other matter is going to be separated as much as it can until it actually has enough power to start pulling the projective energy back again. And that may not be, just as the singularity is not the size of the head of a pin, it's going to take a lot more space than that. The scientists have got that all wrong. The full expansion doesn't mean every piece of matter is going to be separated from every other piece of matter. But it will be separated more than they are today. And we know that because we can see it in our telescopes, that everything is moving away from each other, and then it will come back. So we are all God. We are all eternal. We will always be. And our atoms that we have carry a part of our memories, which means somewhere in the future we may have deja vu. We remember this place. Is it because we had a dream about it? Or is it because we were actually here, and maybe we were here not that long ago as an atom with somebody else that has now become an atom? Well, here's a good example. Maybe it was an atom with something we've consumed, and now that atom is part of us, and we carry the memories of that atom that we consumed that's part of us, whether that was perhaps a bird or a plant. It's always possible. It could have been anything. It doesn't have to have been another person. all things can carry memories. So we are eternal. Is any invention original? Or is it just a memory of something that happened 27 Big Bangs ago? And until you saw something that you could relate it to, it was nonsense. Didn't make any sense. But ultimately, you see something that it relates to, and your mind goes, click, I can see how this makes something else. I can see how I can make this into a spaceship. How can people travel across the space if they're limited to the speed of light? Well, that's a simple statement. The way is recognizing that light is in fact a part of energy that's projective, and that it's a field, not a particle. As much as the scientists like to make us think it's a particle, it's not. It's a field. And within that field, you could move across the field of energy quicker than light, just like the little 6 balls, silver balls, when you drop the one and immediately the one on the end comes out again. That can be done as far as that through space, which means what you need is a transmitter and a receiver. You need somebody on this end to remember how to make the receiver, and on that end to know how to make the transmitter. And then we can transmit the information necessary to know how to recreate us here, example, cloning. If we can clone a person, certainly someone across space can send us enough information that we could actually create them here, but make the necessary modifications that they don't die because we're breathing oxygen and they breathe something totally different. So, universal theory of everything. I hope you've enjoyed that. I have, and I hope you take it with a grain of salt and use it to improve your theory of everything. Thank you. Watto.